Skateboarding can be a lot of things. For some people, it's a way to relax and escape the struggles of daily life, and for others, it can be a sport of the most intense kind. And for others, it can even be a form of art, a form of expression. And a lot of people argue over this to find out what skateboarding really is at its core. But what all of us know for certain is that throughout the years of skateboarding existing, it has resulted in some pretty great accomplishments being reached and a lot of great innovation in a very short period of time. So after seeing how much everyone liked the greatest skateboarding moments video I made a few months ago, I decided to make a part 2 of that video. And make sure to watch the one afterwards if you haven't seen it already. Anyway, without taking up any more time, let's get right into it. Number 1, the largest skateboard. Now a lot of you have probably seen this video before and wondered if it was real or CGI. But in fact, it is actually a real, fully functional skateboard with rolling wheels, bushings, grip tape, and everything else you'd expect from any other regular skateboard, except for the fact that it is scaled up 12 times from the size of a regular board. But this skateboard has a history behind it that you would not expect. It was created in 2009 to be originally featured in Rob Dyrdek's Fantasy Factory, and in the show it was mostly used as a background and a prop for stunts such as Rob flipping a car over it, or taking it down through Venice, or whatever you really wanted to do. And throughout the years, the board has been ridden only a handful of times, and it seems like it's very hard to control. This isn't the kind of board you'd want to drop in on, or do a hill bomb on, or really anything. This thing is just too heavy, and you just can't control it with one person, let alone even like 5 people. Today, it has its own website, and you can actually rent it out yourself, and it looks like most people use it as a promotion tool for new skate parks or for Street League, or whatever you really want to do, and he was even once a stage for the rapper Nas. Number 2, the Loop of Death. Tony Hawk is known for a lot of things. Be it from his legendary 900 to his extremely popular Tony Hawk Pro Skater video games, Tony is arguably the single man responsible for skateboarding being as popular as it is today. And throughout the years, aside from landing the first ever 900, Tony has done some pretty insane stunts, one of the most infamous being the Loop of Death. Being created in 2008 for Tony Hawk's Boom Boom Huck Jam tour, the Loop of Death quickly began to build its reputation of slamming almost every pro skater that attempted it, resulting in many skaters getting seriously injured. But with the right technique and foam pads being used to learn, the Birdhouse team members that were on tour with Tony all ended up learning how to do a loop. Even Tony's son Keegan Hawk attempted it. And one common misconception of the Loop of Death is that it resulted in Tony Hawk's first injury, with him breaking his pelvis and fracturing his skull. But that actually happened on Bob Burnquist's loop, which was old, weathered, and different from the loop than Tony was used to. If you guys don't already know, Burnquist has a huge backyard, and he has his own skate park in there, and he even has his own loop. He made the one fatal mistake that he says he should never do when attempting a loop, and he got spun around and absolutely slammed. But just hearing him talk about it brings chills to my spine. Number 3, Danny Way with the highest dare of 25 feet. If there's anything you guys hated in the first version of this video, it's that I called Danny Way this guy. And you know what? I'm really sorry. I apologize for not using my pronouns correctly and assuming Danny Way's gender. So from now on, I will call him what I should have called him from the beginning. The Tomahawk Missile Danny Way, because not only did he set the world record for the furthest jump on a skateboard of 79 feet when he jumped over the Great Wall of China, but he also set the world record for the highest air of 25 feet from the coping, breaking his own previous record of 18 feet. How did he do it? Well, Danny Way is a pioneer of mega ramps, not to be confused with vert ramps, because with a vert ramp you pretty much have a massive half pipe with vertical walls to the top, and with a mega ramp, you guessed it, it's a mega ramp that typically has a jump in the middle before ending in a huge quarter pipe, which is pretty much just one side of a vert ramp. Anyway, to achieve this new world record, Danny had his own custom mega ramp built, which was 256 feet long, 56 feet tall, and with an 85-foot tall drop-in tower, allowing him to hit speeds of up to 55 miles per hour, and in total flying about 81 feet above the ground, or 25 feet above the coping of the ramp. Definitely very impressive, and something that any other typical skater would need to have a change of pants ready if they ever even tried to attempt it. Number 4, Danny Way helicopter drop-in. Now of course, just because you can fly high and far does not mean that you're a Tomahawk missile just like Danny Way is. But what separates him from the rest is that he's one of the only skaters to ever jump out of a helicopter without a parachute. Yes, that's right, they're literally dropping him out of helicopters. Are you starting to understand why I'm calling him a Tomahawk missile? But this day was a lot more important than you might think. Back then, there was no such thing as mega ramps. Keep in mind, this is like 1998. and Danny Way was trying to find a way to get more air on vert ramps, resulting in him creating his first so-called super ramp. Basically, it was a vert ramp with a higher rolling on the side that would let you get more speed than you would typically when you were dropping in. The first thing he did on the new ramp is do a backside air, instantly breaking the current world record of 12 feet. And then after seeing the helicopter flying around filming all day, he decided to just send it and jump off the helicopter. And I'll just let the video speak for itself.
It went from this incredible day that I'm about to watch the most insane disaster. If it goes too early, you're jumping 15 feet to coping. If you jump just a little bit off, you're jumping 30 feet to the flat ground. I was like so sketched out. I couldn't even, I was so off in the corner, just like on each one, just like, wah. When he landed into that thing, it felt so absolutely incredible.
Everybody was going to have to step up after seeing that in the magazine.
Number 5, the downward spiral loop with Tony Hawk. I guess Tony Hawk's near-death experience seems to have been overpowered with an obsession with loops, because just recently, a few years ago, he decided he was up for another challenge that was never before done in skateboarding, being the downward spiral. Not at all related to the downward spiral that is my life. Built for no other reason because he is Tony Hawk and because he can, and why not, he built the first downward spiral ramp on his own personal vert ramp. And after what seems like a few days of attempts, Tony uttered the famous last words, "Okay, get these pads out of here." And he was able to ride away after a few more attempts, resulting in him being the only skater to ever ride down a downward spiral loop, and adding one more thing to his huge list of skateboarding firsts. Number 6, Nadas and Gons performing the first rail slide and inventing 50/50s and board slides. Most of you that watch my channel or skateboard at all know that Rodney Mullen was one of the pioneers of street skateboarding and invented a lot of the most common street skateboarding tricks, including the ollie, kick flips, heel flips, tray flips, and the list goes on. But what a lot of people don't know is who invented the most common trick in skateboarding today, the grind or the slide. And that would be no one else but Nadas and Mark Gonzalez. Nadas deserves a video of his own, but to sum it down, he was a professional skateboarder back in the 80s. Back then, skateboarding was quite different than it is now, and instead of seeing someone kickflip some stairs or board slide a rail, you'd instead see people riding in ramps or empty pools. But Nadas was way ahead of his time. Sometime in the mid-80s at Oceanside Amphitheater, there's a skateboarding competition that Nadas Kappas would attempt to do the first ever board slide. And although he didn't land it at the time, the flood doors were open for what was possible, and a new opportunity in skateboarding was created that no one ever seen before. A few months later, Nadas and Mark Gonzalez would both learn how to do board slides in the same session in Westwood, California. And they would both later do their first recorded board slides in 1988. Nadas stepped up his game and also did the first ever 50/50 down the same rail. This would undoubtedly change skateboarding forever, and other skaters would build on the foundation that Nadas and the Gons set, bringing skateboarding into the 90s, the era of handrails and ledges. Jaws ollieing the Leon 25. Now, I briefly mentioned this one in the last Greatest Moments video in the Speedfire round, but this ollie deserves a lot more credit than I gave it last time. Now, I'm sure if you've watched my channel before, you've heard me talk about this jump like 100 times, and you already know everything there is to know about it. But like, come on, look at this. It looks like a wall of stairs. It deserves the credit. But for those of you that don't already know, the Leon 25 is the single biggest stair set ever done in skateboarding. The drop measures 14 feet 9 inches, and the jump itself spans 22 feet. And throughout its existence, it's only been challenged by a handful of skaters, and only landed by the one and only Aaron Jaws Moki. He was inspired to try it after seeing Ala Bilala attempts at the end of his part in his video Sorry. And the first time that Jaws stepped up and hooked his body down the beast, he snapped his board in half, tore his MCL, and smacked his balls in the ground so hard that legend says they still have the texture of the brick engraved in them. And he was obviously done for a day. It took him an entire 6 months to recover from this injury, and almost 2 years to come back to this spot and give it another try. This time he had his dad and Ali Bilala there to witness it, and after a few more attempts, and one occasion completely losing his board from under his feet, and on another causing the wheel of his board to break off from the bearing from the sheer force of his landing. Despite this, he remained fearless, and after replacing his broken wheel, he was able to land it and make skateboarding history forever. Later, Jaws received a text message from Tony Hawk, whose birdhouse skateboarding company Jaws skates for. "Congrats," Tony said. "This is one of the greatest feats in skateboarding history." And he's totally right. To date, this jump has been attempted by only one other skater to my knowledge, being Aurelien Girard, who almost got it on his first try, but eventually bailed out and ended up landing on his feet and bruising his heels, making Jaws the only person to have ever landed this jump. Now, obviously, skateboarding has a rich history, and it's very hard to say what are really the greatest moments. It could be somebody breaking a world record, or somebody discovering a new spot that would change skateboarding forever, such as Wallingberg or El Toro. And it's hard to summarize all of that skateboarding in a 10-minute video. So let me know what you think I missed or what I should include if I make a part 3. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Thank you everyone that has watched this far, and if you're new and you watched this far, make sure to subscribe because I upload videos like this every single week. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you all have a good day, and I'll see you soon.